Hey y'all, welcome to That Tennessee Feeling. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much to listen to the very first episode of this podcast. We're going to talk about anything and everything to do with Tennessee. We're going to talk about cities, legends, myths, restaurants, sports teams, famous people, history, vacation spots, wineries, and absolutely everything in between. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jay, and I am a native Nashvilleian. I was born at Baptist Hospital, raised right outside of Nashville, graduated high school from a private school, graduated college from MTSU, survived the Nashville flood, been to the Grand Ole Opry, seen the state grow and change, and remember Nashville before it was full of bachelorette parties. I currently reside in East Tennessee, and I absolutely love this state, and I wanted all y'all to know about why this is my favorite state, so I created a podcast for it. So welcome to That Tennessee Feeling. The podcast does have a Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, so if you want to follow, like, and subscribe, you can keep up with the latest episodes as well as some fun pictures. I do like to share pictures from my followers and other people around Tennessee so that everybody can see what's going on in every corner of the state. The podcast is through Anchor, and it will be out on Spotify, which I'm assuming this is probably how you're listening, and it'll also be out some other podcast platforms. It'll probably go to Apple within the next week or so. If you do like this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would like, follow, subscribe. That just kind of helps to get the podcast out for everybody else so that they can know why the volunteer state is one of the best states in the country. Now let's talk about it. Since we're doing a podcast on it, let's go over some facts about Tennessee. It does have a long history, but it wasn't one of the original 13 colonies. But that doesn't mean it hasn't been around for a while. Tennessee was actually given statehood in 1796, which makes it the 16th state, and the state does sit in both central and eastern time zones. Yes, that does get really confusing when you're trying to call people sometimes. I've been woken up many times because someone thought it was 7 and it was actually 6. So the capital of Tennessee is Nashville. Nashville is also the biggest city in the state, with Memphis being a close second. The state of Tennessee is made up of 95 counties and 340 municipalities in total. Nashville does have more than 13 counties in its metropolitan area, which is kind of why it's considered the biggest city in the state, with about 2 million residents. Nashville proper actually has nearly 700,000 residents just of its own. So it definitely earned that title for a reason. Tennessee has some really cool state birds and pets and things like that, and so I want to share a few. The state bird of Tennessee is a mockingbird, and the state pet is the rescued dogs and cats. I absolutely love that. I think that's awesome. I was kind of surprised it wasn't Smokey, but, I think the rescued dogs and cats are even better. The state flower for Tennessee is the iris, and the state animal is the raccoon. I refer to them as trash pandas, but officially they're known as raccoons. The state tree is the tulip poplar. The state food is a tomato, which actually makes a ton of sense because Grainger County tomatoes are amazing. Next time they're in season, I definitely recommend trying one, y'all. The state dessert is banana pudding. That does not surprise me. And, of course, Tennesseans know most of these facts. If you actually went to school in Tennessee, you probably had to do that Tennessee scrapbook in middle school somewhere. And so you probably remember a few of these random fun facts. If you didn't go to school in Tennessee, yes, you have to do a Tennessee scrapbook, and it was a very interesting project. Tennessee also has 8 states that border it. That's a lot more than most other states. Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, and Virginia all touch the volunteer state. We call them neighbors. And of course, I've said it's the volunteer state. So how did it get its nickname? The nickname volunteer state came from the amount of volunteers that came from the Tennessee militia during the War of 1812. Most of them specifically were in the Battle of New Orleans. So, Tennessee's always ready and always there to help. Now, let me give you a few fast facts about the state beyond our favorites. Greenville, Tennessee is home to the only monument in the country dedicated to both Union and Confederate soldiers. Tennessee is home to the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. It is also the most visited state park in the U.S. It's probably the most visited state park here and national park in the U.S. And it's one of my favorites. It's amazing. And if you've ever been to Gatlinburg, you've been. Tennessee was the last state to secede from the Union and the first to be readmitted. Sweetwater, Tennessee is home to the country's largest underwater lake, the Lost Sea. If If you've never been, I do recommend going. There will be a podcast on it. The state gets its name from the Yuchi? I'm not going to pronounce it. Somebody's yelling at me right now going, you pronounce it. The Yuchi Indian word, Tennessee, which means meeting place. The Memphis Cotton Exchange handles roughly 1/3 of the U.S. entire cotton crop. Fun fact, Tennessee is home of Mountain Dew, which was actually a soda created to mix with whiskey. I have tried it. I can say it does better with moonshine than whiskey, but to each his own. Andrew Jackson, while not a true Tennessee native, was actually born in North Carolina, did, however, hold every local, state, and federal executive office and was the first president to be impeached and called Tennessee home for most of his life. Ernest Holmes of Chattanooga invented the tow truck in 1926. Elvis Presley's home, Graceland, is the second most visited house museum in the U.S. I have been. I recommend going once. It's a very interesting way to look at how people used to live and what they used to consider top of the line and fancy. The TV room still gets me. The Grand Ole Opry holds the title as the longest radio show in U.S. history. It did start in 1925. Ooh, it's almost 100. That's kind of cool. Kingston, Tennessee was the state capital for one whole day. I'll explain more why in another episode. Tennessee is home to the most caves on record in any U.S. state. The Tennessee River is the longest tributary of the Ohio River. Tennessee is 440 miles long and 120 miles wide. Tennessee is an interesting, weird, fun place. I'm not going to lie. You can see a little bit of everything here. You can go to one part and see almost the plains towards Memphis. You can see a natural lake in Reelfoot Lake up in the top corner. You can go to Nashville and you're kind of in an allergy bowl. But it is the birthplace of country music. And where I grew up, I can say that there is a lot of fun things to do in Nashville. Non-touristy things. Of course, if you want to see the mountains, we have that for you too. You can go anywhere on the east side of the state and you'll probably be in the Appalachian Trail. I absolutely love East Tennessee, even though I was not originally born here. I've grown to call it home. I love the mountains. I love the wildlife. I love the trails and the hiking and all of it. It's just such a fun place. And it snows. So, if you want to experience all the seasons, see all the beauty there is to offer, then definitely you want to check out Tennessee. I cannot wait to introduce you guys to all of my favorite locations, as well as finding new ones that we can all visit. I know that the fun part of this is going to be that I will discover things, as well as you guys, about places in Tennessee that I either didn't know exist or had heard about but never really got to explore. I think it's going to be fun. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys continue to tune in and learn more about the volunteer state. This is a short episode. This is really just my introduction into the podcast. I am going to put out episodes every other week, so bi-weekly, on Tuesdays. I hope you guys don't forget to tune in. Don't forget, guys, be nice to one another, have fun in life, and remember, y'all, stay country.